everyone, welcome to Southern Wreaths. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, share my video, and be sure to become a member of my YouTube channel. It's only $1.99 a month and you will get an extra video every month that you can only see if you're a member. Today I'm going to show you how I make this really pretty blue and like a rusty orange wreath. My mesh doesn't actually have that rusty orange color, but it's pulling from some of these leaves that are actual orange, and the writing itself is really orange. So I am going to do just the ruffle method today. I'm using white mesh and orange mesh. This is 10 inches. I have a really big sign, but I think it's going to work with the way I'm going to set up the wreath. So if I finish it and I don't like how it looks, I may end up changing it to a larger wreath. I like to kind of stick to this one size because it's easier for shipping. I'm going to use this really pretty blue and like a copper leaf ribbon. I thought it matched really well. And then of course this ribbon matches with this one. And I love this blue, and I just picked up this brown. Well, a friend actually, she's a subscriber. She picked this up for me at, I believe this one is from Costco. Yes, the Kirkland brand. So let's get started. So the first thing I like to do is add the pipe cleaners to my frame. This is a 14-inch silver frame from Dollar Tree. I get my pipe cleaners from Hobby Lobby. Usually I do have one pack that I got from Craft Outlet, but that was just to make my bill an even $69, so my shipping was free. So I'm going to add a pipe cleaner to each crossbar on the center, going around the two center rings. I twist it 3 times pretty tightly. I don't want it to come loose or spin around or anything. I'll end up with 6 ties on the inside. Once I'm finished adding the pipe cleaners to the inside, I'm going to add them to the outside. I just like to pick a random crossbar to start, and again I'm going to go around the 2 outside rings instead of the inside, twisting 3 times. The difference is I'm going to lay the pipe cleaners along the frame. Where the pipe cleaners end is where I'm going to add my next one. And I will do this going all the way around the outside. I end up with 8 on the outside and 6 on the inside, so a total of 14. I think this is what it looks like when it's all done, and I go around and open up the outside ties. I decided to add in this jute mesh along with the white and yellow just because I didn't really want it all to be too, honestly, UT colors. I want it to be white, yellow, and brown. So I'm adding in the jute. I am going to cut my mesh at 30 inches this time because I'm only doing 1 ruffle per section. I will have an odd number, so I'm only going to cut 4 of the orange mesh. So I'm going to cut 5 of this, 5 of the white, and 4 of the orange. So I'm just going to use my mat to help me measure. This is 24 inches. So I'm going to grab it 0 and pull it out to the 6. So that gives me 30 inches. Grab at the 0, pull it to the middle, and then I'm just going to use my rotary cutters to cut it. And then that will be one of my ruffles. And like I said, I'm going to need 5 of this color. Here, I'll show you again. 24 inches, pull out to 6, that makes 30. Go to 0 and pull to the center. I finished cutting all my mesh, and now I'm going to ruffle it. I'm going to start with the white, and I just like to have something heavy at the end just to help me ruffle it. And this ruffle is a lot longer than my normal ones. Well, 6 inches longer, but still I'm used to doing 30-inch ruffles. So I'm going to lay it out flat, have something heavy. It is hanging off the edge. And then I'm just going to start ruffling. So I just take these fingers, pull, if I can keep it straight, pull it up, and then lift these to hold it there. And then just do this all the way down. And I didn't have to get too far into the roll, so my ruffles will stay pretty flat. My mesh will stay pretty flat. It's when you get into the center of the roll where you have a big curl at the end, and it's harder to keep it flat when you're ruffling. So I'm just going to add it into the pipe cleaner. Just going to pull it around and try to make sure it's as even as possible so you have a really nice pretty ruffle. I'm going to twist 1.5 times and then just fluff my ruffle and do my next one. Now I'm going to do the jute, again laying it out flat and gathering. I love working with jute mesh. It's so soft on your hands. but it's also sturdy, so it keeps its shape and it doesn't, I mean, it does fray, but maybe not as bad as like Dollar Tree, of course, or even Hobby Lobby and Michael's mesh tends to fray a lot. I'm going to add that into the next pipe cleaner. And I am alternating. I'm going to do white, jute, orange. And of course I have an uneven amount, so I'm not sure how it'll look in the end, but it'll all be covered with ribbons and the sign, so. Alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and finish adding all of my mesh the same way I've been showing you. Alright, I finished adding all of my mesh. I do want to point out a couple things. One, it doesn't matter if you start on the inside or outside, because the way you fluff it, you're going to fluff it up against the mesh that's on the inside and beside it. And the best way to make this look nice is, well, one, trim any fraying that you see, but try to hide your rough ends. So when you have these pieces that stick up, like right here, you just want to kind of tuck it under. Just kind of make sure it's hidden. You don't want that shining, like right here, these two pieces. You just kind of tuck it under. It just kind of hides it a little bit, makes it look a little bit cleaner. And then like here, I've got pieces that are sticking up way too high. So I'm just going to kind of turn it and make sure it's, you know, fluffing up against what's outside of it. But for the most part, it looks okay. You can see some of the frame through this. So if you get to this point and you are seeing the frame, don't freak out. Once you add your ribbons and your sign, you will not see the frame. If that bothers you, go ahead and do a poof base before you add this. I wanted this one to stay a little bit thin. It's not going to be as thin as a pancake wreath, but it is going to stay pretty thin because it's already going to be really heavy with this sign. Not super heavy, but pretty heavy. I had to cut a new piece of cardboard. I think my daughter accidentally threw it away, but I cut it just slightly less than 12 inches. That's just so it has room to build up, but you could make it larger if you wanted to. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping my ribbon. I need 7 of each piece, so I just like to line it up with the end and pull it around. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and then I'm going to take my scissors and put them in between the ribbon and the cardboard. I'm going to do that on either end. And I'll end up with 7 pieces of 12-inch ribbon. So I'll go through and do that with all the ribbon, but I wanted to quickly show you how I dovetail the ends. So I have 2 pieces of ribbon here stacked together. I fold it in half, long ways, and I'm going to cut from the wire to the crease at an angle. And I get my dovetail. And I will do this for all of the ribbon. It's not necessary. If you wanted to keep it square, you could. Or you can also angle cut it. Some people like to angle cut the smaller ribbons too. After I finish cutting my ribbons, I like to stack it the way I'm going to add it to my wreath. So I have it alternated. I'm alternating the colors. I have the copper colored, like a rusty orange leaf one with the brown, and then the plaid with the solid navy. So I just like to get it kind of even, fold it in half and crease, and pinch 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And I always put the smaller ribbon on top. You probably don't have to because you just fluff it, but it's easier for me. So I'm just putting it into the pipe cleaner and let's twist 3 times. I'm going to take my glue stick and roll down my pipe cleaners. I just like the way that adds a decorative touch to it, but you could also trim them away if you don't want to roll them down. Alright, now my next one. And I will alternate this through the whole wreath. And you could definitely add more ribbons if you wanted to. You can add more to each section or a different pattern. Alright. Add this next to that one. And curl it down. Now if you don't like to waste ribbon, you won't need to add ribbon behind your sign. But sometimes I change my mind while I'm crafting, so I will almost always add my ribbons and then just cover it up with the sign. That way if the sign fades later on and the customer decides they don't want to keep the sign on there, they can always pull it off, and then the wreath is still has ribbons and is still uniform. Okay, I finished adding all of my ribbons. I really like the way it looks. I think this sign just, it matches perfect. I really would have preferred to have some of this buffalo check with the navy and white, but I don't have any, and I have enough navy ribbon here, or enough, yeah, mixed in for it to work. Now I have to decide if I want to do the sign in the center or if I want to do it on the side with a bow. But I think with the size of this sign that the center is going to be my best bet. I really like the way that looks. Alright, so stick that to the side. I'm going to trim off the rope. I'm going to have 2 pipe cleaners. We'll put one at either end and use my stapler. And it didn't go through. Good deal. To add my sign, I'm just going to feed the pipe cleaners through to the back and wrap it around the frame. Just kind of push the mesh aside. And don't worry about the pipe cleaner. You can hide it with mesh and ribbons. But if that bothers you, you can also use wire instead of pipe cleaners. Alright, so I have it pushed to the back and a pipe cleaner on either side of the frame. And I'll twist it a few times and then just kind of tuck it forward. That way there's nothing pokey sticking out. Then I will go through and pull everything out from behind it. You don't want to lose all that ribbon. That's it. That's how I made my navy and orange fall wreath. If y'all have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can email me at craftingwithlee@yahoo.com. Thank you so much for watching, and if y'all learned anything today or liked my video, please like, share, subscribe, and be sure to join my wreath group. Thank you.